Why can't you speak French with confidence yet? Your mind goes blank, and the words that you know just vanish. In this video, I'm going to explain exactly why that's happening. And more importantly, I'm going to show you what actually works instead. Not to write French, not to read French, but to speak French with confidence, with the right words order, automatically. If your goal is to speak French, first you need to know what you should not do, because your time and motivation are limited. So you shouldn't waste them on methods that will never make you speak. It's just useless, tiring, and discouraging. And here I'm talking about the traditional methods. So the methods based on writing. You know why you're given verb tables, conjugation charts, vocabulary lists, on paper or online. Anyway, you are asked to memorize them. And then you have the grammar drills, the fill-in-blank exercises, reading comprehension, and sometimes written exams. Even if it's online, even if it looks modern or new with articles or short stories in French, it's still the same old approach. Learn by reading, memorize, then try to recognize what you memorized. But that's the worst way to learn to speak French. So why? Here is the problem. You never learn to build your own sentences in French, directly, in the moment. That's why you freeze. You spent all this time accumulating French knowledge, grammar rules, vocabulary, verb forms, but you never trained the skill of constructing sentences yourself. So there's a gap, a frustrating, embarrassing gap between what you know and what you can actually do when someone is standing in front of you, waiting for you to speak French. And that gap is not your fault. It's not about your age. It's not about your memory. It's not about your talent for languages. You're just trying to do something you were never trained to do. So your freezing is completely logical. Because traditional classes are designed to teach writing and reading. They fundamentally cannot teach French speaking. It's not what they're built for. So now, here is the real question. How do you actually build this skill? The ability to produce French on the spot, even under pressure. How do you learn to speak French with confidence? The answer is not more grammar classes. It's not more vocabulary lists. And it's not more passive listening. The answer is practicing production. Practicing speaking French, but in a very specific way, so you don't get lost and you don't feel overwhelmed. So to learn to speak French, you don't need a writing method. You need a speaking method. One where you learn to speak by actually speaking, by constructing sentences yourself. And you do only that from day one. But how do you do that if you freeze every time you try to speak? If you're supposed to learn by speaking? So here's the key. It's very simple. You need to be guided. That's what makes all the difference. Being guided means you're not alone, trying to figure out how to build sentences from scratch. For instance, I give you the building blocks of a French sentence, step by step, but I don't say the whole sentence in French. And you construct the whole sentence yourself, out loud, with me guiding you through. Let me give you a concrete example. For instance, I might say, tell me, I want a coffee in French. Instead of giving you a phrase to memorize, I show you how to build it. So first, I want. I just tell you how to say want in French. And I ask you to say I want in French. You say it, and only then I say it. So you have to think first and say it. And that's where the magic happens. Then I tell you how to say a coffee in French. You put all the words together yourself and you say in French, I want a coffee. So you constructed it. You didn't repeat after me. You built it by thinking yourself. And then I might say, now tell me, I don't want a coffee. So I tell you how to say the idea of don't in French. And you add it to the pattern that you already know, that you have already practiced. You're thinking, you're producing, you're speaking French. That's guided speaking. You start with something simple enough so you can say it. And you do it with all the grammar points in French. You're creating sentences by thinking in French. And that skill, building your own sentences in real time, is exactly what you need when someone is standing in front of you, waiting for you to speak French. One of my students said this: nothing else worked for me when it comes to speaking. I took private one-on-one lessons, expensive group lessons, cheaper group lessons, finished level B1, and yet couldn't speak. The professional French teachers in France all follow a system heavily focused on written French. Your system actually removes the pressure from having a person wait for you to compose and say a sentence. That's what guided speaking does in video. It trains the skill you actually need. So now you know why you freeze. You understand that writing methods can teach you to speak. And you understand that you need a speaking method where you are guided. But understanding is not enough. You need to experience it. So here's what you can do. Watch my other videos on this channel. I have videos where you can try this method with me right now. For instance, to say the structure, I was waiting. That is completely different in French, but very easy with a speaking method like this. Or sentences like, I take it, that are also completely different. So you really need to think in French. And the speaking method is perfect for that. See how it feels to build sentences instead of memorizing them. You have videos in the description. And when you're ready for the complete experience, I have a free 4-hour masterclass that guides you to all the fundamental building blocks to speak French with confidence. So if you want to go further right now, the link is in the description. If you have tried the traditional way and it didn't work, try this now.